detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM. Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 City FM. I am Umaru Sandamadu here tonight with
Melody Fafa Potufe.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes.
So I film the Busanity, you know, you need it also be you need it also be
NPP Member of Parliament for Akwetia, Eyewitness Kumi, passes on in what has shocked many close friends who were with him within the last 24 hours. We'll be hearing from family members, members of Parliament, and members of his party. Also coming up, opposition NPP claims credit for newly discovered oil blocks in what appears to be the beginning of a debate over the Akuma and Iban fields. We'll be telling you more on what has been happening. And later on Eyewitness News, the CATS International Group, a think tank in the education sector, is urging the Ministry of Education to end the results that WACEC charges for checking, or the money or the fees that are charged by WACEC for the disclosure of results to examination candidates. Stay with 97.3 City of more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
CATS International demands proper reforms in pay TV market space as DSTV prepares to slash prices.
That's in 15 minutes from the City Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations, including Premier 100.5 FM, Beach 105.5 FM, and Sky 93.5 FM, all in Takrady. Also in Sunyani on Greener 95.9 FM, in Kumasi on Orange 107.9 FM, in Somanya on Right 90.1 FM, in Aflau on Holy 98.5 FM, in Yendi on Dasuma 99.1 FM, in Zuarungu on Word 88.3 FM, and in Wa on Bugli Radio 88.6, as well as so on Bugli Radio 88.6 FM. We are live on YouTube and live on Facebook. You can follow the CTFM handle and follow the news as we bring it to you. You can join the conversation by sending messages to our WhatsApp number, which is 0549-986-996, 0549-986-996. Alternatively, you can go on Twitter, now known as X, and drop me a tweet by mentioning my handle at Umaru Sanda or at City973. We start off with a very sad news, and Fafa has that for us.
Well, scores of party sympathizers thrown into a state of shock and mourning have gathered at the Achimwenchi residence of the late Eyewitness Kumi, Member of Parliament for Akwetia, to commiserate with the family. News of his passing was reported this morning. The exact cause of death remains unclear, as the regional leadership of the New Patriotic Party awaits full details from the family. Speaking to the media, the younger brother of the late MP Kumi, visibly emotional, confirmed the news and said the family has lost its breadwinner.
Ayenia, to Medical Hospital or Leicester Hospital, Hospital. After the Obudis was in this one, ahead and call. None area port, the Rebano Saturday, no Miss Obudis was in the Kun's ahead and call. Tinukun dear, what one Namo said. Tina yet here. You say, what way in weekend you were back? When was the last time we were? The dear. Of course, they 2 weeks. Then one less walk back with you, but went me also as he be seen a coin. Until money to be full for a day. A buy. The Huna Chakaka. Pillar, see if you go back. na yede tuno ye pila go to na tuno ya bla bomu na e dey da so go ye ofa ba ko pa na waka wuye ono obesi ye ofa na so is no longer so yede efrim de bushane die e se no ye dey da so bia e dey da so bia bla bo
Emotional scenes and sounds from the residence of the late Member of Parliament now for Akwetia, Honorable Ernest Kumi there. And Fafa, they were speaking in the Twi language. If you could just help us summarize what they were saying.
Yeah, so a translation of what the brother said was that he traveled and arrived yesterday, and this morning he complained of a heartache, so he was taken to the hospital by his wife. She was later told her husband had passed. This is what we heard. He is our only support. All our life has depended on him since the death of our uncle. He replaced him. And now that he has passed, we have no one to rely on. Our last hope is gone.
Indeed, a very sad one there, the news we're receiving from Akwetia. And you do know that Ernest Kumi, this would be his second attempt at that seat before eventually winning. And even after winning, he was in the courts. And you do recall the legal battles that he only recently won, which legal battles included him being cited for contempt, which contempt he was found guilty of, which was eventually overturned at the Supreme Court. He's been Member of Parliament for 6 months, 7 months, and there he goes. Papa, which other angles do you have to this story?
Well, uncle of the late Ernest Kumi, Edward Edu Ntiamwa, has appealed to the leadership of the New Patriotic Party to support the family during this difficult time.
Nurse ni ofia de bi o check na ni ade enti owo ni ba ye na yankopon ni kuro ni yanso yabusua ni ade na Methodist asole me na beti Methodist asole wo wanchi nti yakobo ye sofo na man ana na nso na asole mpanifon bi ba fie e ba be kan bibia kire ma me no na me sister no nso enye se wanyi beble sa but yale ese nti ama na ho ode no aba efom kakra no ni ade inti wa checking ni sugar no na o say was ni sugar no cost inti o say yede ko wanchi clinic ana yede no track mo ko clinic ya em say doctors e he no bo bisa ana asam no ya yankopon ni kuro ni meme ye ofa ni bi sesi a efie mu na wo ho no abo wono na yede na ye ofa abo me amedwuma me offer no offer ni mpompa na me bet na chi no ye ni obia ti ye besre titru MPP amandoku no kroba ye ya ji party ne ekina no efia obo MPP dia wonya ndisi yes doctor Mahmoud Bawumia MPP amandoku se omunjo mani na picha.
That was uncle of the late Ernest Kumi, Edward Edu Ntiamwa. A translation of what he said. After Ernest Kumi's passing, we had to invite our pastor to break the news to his mother. Unfortunately, this led to a spike in her blood sugar levels, and we quickly took her to Wenchi Clinic for medical attention. As Ernest's uncle, I'm reaching out to the MPP to respectfully request their support and assistance for the family during this challenging time, as he was the primary breadwinner. Meanwhile, Parliament today adjourned sittings in honor of the late Member of Parliament for Akwetia. Mr. Kumi was serving his first term in Parliament, having won the Akwetia seat in the December 2024 general elections. Addressing the House, Minority Leader Alexander Pinyomarking said the Minority Caucus is devastated by the news of his passing.
The caucus says to them, we know that this is sudden, it was unexpected. The member was not seen as somebody who was unwell. and therefore you are paying. But like we say, God knows best. Speaker, I just checked the background of this young man, born 1984, pursued his first degree, and per his public records, he's pursued 3 second degrees: an MBA in corporate governance, an LLB in law, MSc in defense and international politics, served previously as a security manager, proud to join in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, a lot can be said. For now, I would want to leave it here by way of the credentials he brought to this house. The Speaker, his records in this house, both at the plenary and committee levels, are quite profound and are known to all. Above all, this brother had all that anybody would want to have in a brother. He lived the prayer of this house, quote, a country of righteousness where none shall wrong his neighbor, unquote. No one can ever say that in his few months in this chamber, he was controversial or wronged colleagues. He was always there, seeing him every day happy and all. The Speaker, this house is aware that today we've programmed a couple of business. The majority leader informed us last week of business for this week. It is the prayer of this side of the house, the NPP Minority Caucus, of 88, regrettably -1, to pray with the indulgence of the leader of the house that today's proceedings be terminated as we observe a minute of silence in his honor. The Speaker, it's a very sad day. Sad day to a family, to a constituency, to democracy, to Parliament, and to the people of Ghana. We know not when any of us may receive a summons. Colleagues, let's take heart and continue with our service to Mother Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate this treasure space to break this unfortunate news. I do so with a lot of regrets and a lot of hesitation. But it's my duty to be the bearer of it. And I've done so. Thank you, sir.
That was Minority Leader Alexander Apenyomarking.
This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Accra. Very, very disturbing story. You heard the voices from the House of Parliament, and earlier you heard voices from the late Ernest Kumi's house at Achim Wenchi in his constituency in Akwetia, where our Eastern Region correspondent Neonia Mate Kanako is actually joining me from. You're welcome to Eyewitness News. Around what time did this information come to your attention, and how did you confirm the news? What was the kind of reaction you got when you spoke to party members in the region, and also when you got to the house, what did you see?
Thank you very much, Sanda, and good evening to all our cherished listeners. It's quite sad and then an unfortunate note that we are coming to them with this unfortunate news about the passing of Ernest Kumi, the Member of Parliament for the Akwetia constituency. So around 9 a.m., that was when I had calls coming through my phone, people trying to find out if what they are hearing was true. So I hurriedly called the regional secretary of the party in the person of Tony Osei to also try and confirm. Now, when I spoke to Tony was also on the line with the constituency chairman of Akwetia, who was also trying to confirm the issue that is about the passing of the Akwetia Member of Parliament to Tony. Now, we also tried to get contact to the hospital where this incident unfortunately took place. That is the Leicester Hospital, Aspenters, and we had a confirmation from them. We went to the family house where the younger brother, that is Edmond Apple, the younger brother of Ernest Kumi, also confirmed this particular issue to us, and then the uncle of Ernest Kumi also confirming the issue to us, Shanda.
So, how is the constituency reacting to his death?
Now, when you get to the Akwetia constituency itself, currently, scores of people are gathered there as we speak now. A number of them are still there, a majority being women in the constituency. Now, these people are clad in red and black, and it's like a free-for-all morning. Or nobody is even controlling anybody. Everybody is crying because they are saying that Ernest Kumi is somebody who has become a unifier. They had issues in the constituency which led to them losing that seat to the NDC in 2020. But Ernest Kumi, since becoming the Member of Parliament in 2024, has gone to another level to unite the people. That is the aggrieved parties, his camp and the camp of Ama say as well. So as we speak now, all these people who were brought together by Ernest Kumi in the constituency are really worried and aggrieved by this particular incident and are crying. Now, when you go to Achim Wenchi, where Ernest Kumi has his home, there you would realize that a number of people are still in his residence, also trooping in to confirm whether what they've heard is also true. We have women, we have children, we have even men coming to, even those who went to work. People, the area is predominantly occupied by miners. All those who went to their concessions to go and work, they are all back to Ernest Kumi's house trying to find out if what they've heard, the numerous calls coming to their lines have been confirmed that Ernest Kumi is no more. So the situation is quite a sad one in the whole Akwetia constituency. When you go to Bwedia, you go to other areas, all the people are worried, all the people are grieving, all the people are mourning, especially at the party office in Akwetia, where we have a number of people still gathered there mourning Ernest Kumi's death.
A very sad one indeed. Thank you so much, Ni, for speaking to us, and do keep monitoring events there for us. Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Neoni Amati Kanako. He's our Eastern Region correspondent, and he was in the residence of the late Akwetia Member of Parliament, Ernest Kumi, in Achimwenchi in the Akwetia Constituency. Earlier in the day, the House of Parliament had to adjourn upon a request from the Minority Leader Alexander Penyo-Makin, who said his side was devastated by the news. We heard his voice earlier. We can now listen to the Leader of the House, also Leader of the NDC side, Majority Leader Honorable Mahama Ayariga.
Right Honorable Speaker, definitely and arguably this is one of the saddest days of this House. Like you said, I saw on the platform some publication to the effect that we had lost our younger brother, Honorable Ernest Kumi. But I didn't believe it. I just thought, in this our politics, sometimes people put out all sort of things. So I just thought it was. And then I got another message that said, Leader is serious, it's true. It's published by Joy News and other credible news platforms. And I really was saddened by the development. Very young, just a little over 40 years. Very bright, as the Minority Leader has presented vividly. Within a short period, he had strung a number of degrees in diverse fields of study, showing that this is a very studious young man. At that age, he believed in democracy. He participated and effectively, and as a result, took a constituency as weighty as Akwatia from within his party and in the general elections. So this is a young man full of promise for the store of knowledge, intellect, promise for store of energy that this House needs to sustain it. The prime of his life, like the Minority Leader has indicated, he has everything that a young man of his age will need. And to be taken away from us at this stage in his life is not only a loss to his family, it's not only a loss to Akwatia as a constituency, it's a loss to Ghana, because we wouldn't know where he would have ended up in terms of the leadership of this country. And we may never know what we have missed by losing him so early in his political career. I believe that this House has suffered a terrible blow, and it's the kind of blow that when you take, you can't stand. Even sitting will be a problem. And so I join my colleague to appeal to colleagues here and then Right Honorable Speaker that we do take an adjournment for today, and tomorrow we can come back and put ourselves together to be able to conduct public business. I know this is not a time for reading tributes. The family is still struggling to come to terms with what has happened. His constituency is still struggling to come to terms with what has happened. But we wish them, we extend our condolences to them, and our prayers are with them. And as a house, we are with them in this period of extreme grief that they must be suffering now. And it is not the minority caucus that has lost, it is this parliament that has lost. Because he was a member of the House before he was a member of the minority caucus. So, Mr. Speaker, I join my colleague to pray for an adjournment so that we can all go back and then put ourselves together. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So that's Mahama Yarga. He is a leader of the House of Parliament, the majority leader. Let's go to the NPP side. Henry Nanabuache is national organizer of the New Patriotic Party. Nanabi, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Our condolences to you and your party members. How big a blow is the death of NS Kumi to your party and indeed to your person, if you had such a relationship with him?
Maru, thank you very much. Good evening to your listeners and then your viewers as well. This is a big blow. It's a devastating moment for the New Patriotic Party. The news came to us today when we were having National Executive Committee meeting. So that was when informally the Eastern Regional Chairman of the New Patriotic Party gave us the news. And subsequently, the leader, our minority leader, also told us about this unfortunate, this sad event. Ernest is a personal friend beyond politics. He's a good guy. He's an intelligent person, young, full of life. The last time I was with him was in Belgium, just about a month ago, when we attended a conference together. We struggled to win the Akotia seat the first time, and then the second time he won the seat for us. He had some few legal issues. He had gone over these legal issues, and then we were hoping to get the maximum out of him. And then unfortunately, he's no more. He's a rising star, or he was a rising star in the New Patriotic Party. I can say that this is a bad moment for the New Patriotic Party. It's so sad, and we wish. I mean, it's very difficult to say that in all things, give thanks to God. I mean, that is what the scripture says. But sometimes when such events hit you, it's very difficult for you to appreciate the scripture in that sense. But that is how it is. I mean, we need to thank God for everything. That is what the scripture says. Very, very unfortunate. Our condolences to the bereaved family and the wife. And I know she's going through a lot by now. We hope and pray that the good Lord should grant her the needed strength to carry on. So formally, we know that the family will inform us, but then we have been informed. And then as you are aware, you also played some tapes in Parliament. Omaru, I can confirm and say that yes, we have lost a good guy, an intelligent chap, and a rising person who, for me, would have been a very formidable lawmaker. Fortunately, he's no more.
What kind of politician would you say NS Kumi was?
He's gentle, he's sharp, he's the slow but sure kind. He's not aggressive, very detailed person. You always want to make sure things are done in the right way. I remember we visited his constituency during the elections period, and you could see how organized and well prepared he was for the elections. I wasn't surprised that Citi had lost a previous time or the previous elections. He won it now, especially when the MPP went through such unfortunate Waterloo regarding the seats we have in Parliament now. And one would have thought that the seat that we lost the previous elections, it would have been very, very difficult for us to win now. He won the elections for us. He's a very, very gentle guy, nice person, very humble, down to earth. And for me, this has come to the party at a very, very bad timing. But God knows best tomorrow.
Indeed. And we can't really question. Thank you so much for speaking to us, and our condolences to you, Nanabi.
Thank you very much.
That's Henry Nana Boakye. He is national organizer of the New Patriotic Party, NPP. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We take a break and we'll be back with more. Please stay.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the game of choices. Listen with rapt attention. Round 1, question 1. Elevator or stairs?
Stairs.
Now the second question. Less than 4 hours or at least 6 hours of sleep at night?
At least 6 hours of sleep.
The last question. Yomi yogurt or...
Yomi yogurt, of course.
Oh, I'm not done.
No need. That's my choice. Yomi yogurt.
Life is full of choices. Always remember that the choices we make today shape our tomorrow. Whether it's a morning start, a midday snack, or a dessert, our delicious Yomi yogurt is here to nourish you. Yomi, a nourishing choice. This advert is FDA approved.
Oh, jump on now. Go. Google me. At what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy a new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same, right? It be the fuel where I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open there.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small.
Go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Charlie, Chairman is still not here. What at all could be the issue? Calm down. I'm sure you'll be here soon. Oh, guys. Sorry I'm late. Kotipap me for road. Sake of my insurance expire. Some long issue, Charlie.
Chairman Pan. Hey, you make Kotipap you sake of you forget to renew your car insurance when you can get your car insurance sticker instantly on Haptel. And best of all, you can set a reminder to renew. Simple matter. Just install the app, enter your car number, and oh la la! Your instant insurance sticker is there.
Oh really? Make I do am now before I forget. But Edemu, Charlie, see. Edemu, insurance sticker need Edemu one time. I can even renew it every month. Wow, Charlie. As for this one today, as usual, the sitting is on me.
Visit Haptel.com/app to download your Haptel app and set a reminder to renew your car insurance today. Haptel is everything you.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Accra. Let's move to some other stories now, and Fafa has that for us.
The minority in Parliament has slammed the Mahama administration for what it calls an unfair attempt to claim credit for the Eban and Akuma oil discoveries. According to Deputy Ranking Member on the Energy Committee, Collins Adomako Mensah, the discoveries were made under the Akufo-Addo government in May 2019. He says the previous administration granted approval to ENI for joint appraisal and deserves recognition in the ministry's recent commercial viability declaration.
Of each of the two discoveries, which is Akuma and Eban, requested the Akufo-Addo administration, Bawumia administration, to be permitted to effect a single but joint appraisal of the two discoveries to save costs and also fast-track the appraisal program to result in a shorter field development to production cycle in the event that the discoveries are found to be commercial upon appraisal. The Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, as part of its commitment to speed up the processes involved in bringing Ghana's hydrocarbon resources to the surface quickly and to avert stranded resources in light of the energy transition, gave approval to ENI to undertake a joint but single appraisal program in respect of the Eban Akuma discoveries, which discoveries are now known as the Eban Akuma complex. This approval was issued by a letter to ENI by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration dated 28 July 2022. It is therefore disingenuous and a policy of truth for the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition to project or suggest as it sought to do per its statement under reference. Subsequent to the approval of ENI's Eban Akuma program by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, ENI has undertaken appraisals of the Eban and Akuma discoveries and come to the conclusion that the two discoveries are commercial enough to merit investment for the field development and production. What has simply taken place is that following a successful outcome of a prior approved appraisal of the Eban Akuma discoveries, ENI has, as is required of it under the CTP Block 4 Petroleum Agreement, informed the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition of its determination that the discoveries are commercial and can be produced upon a later approval of a plan of development. The minority wonders how the Mahama administration have nothing to do with the drilling of the Akuma and Eban exploration wells, as well as approval of the appraisal program of the two discoveries, will all of a sudden claim that the results of an Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration approved appraisal program that has resulted in the declaration of commerciality are a credit to it. In Ghana's upstream petroleum industry, it is a contract or operator that has the duty of informing the state of the outcome of any approved appraisal program. That is what ENI did recently. The Mahama administration, for self-serving purposes, has sought to covet this normal reporting to a fanfare whose cost is attributable to it, even though it is barely 7 months in office. The Mahama administration ought to learn that the upstream sector requires a lot of patience and deliberate planning whose results are not attainable in such non-existent record times as it has disingenuously sought to communicate on the premises of statements of doubtful validity. For the record, the minority wishes to inform the Mahama administration that the following discoveries were made during the 8 years of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. The Pecan Southeast, the contractor is Ake. It was discovered in 2018. It is projected. Initial estimated volume is 10 million barrels of oil. The Nyankom 1X, AGM, discovered in 2019. Initial estimate is 168 million barrels. The Afina 1X, Springfield, discovered in 2019. Initial estimation is 150 to 300 million barrels of oil. The Akuma 1X ENI, which is what we are talking about now, also discovered in 2019. The Eban 1X, 2021. The above table showing the discoveries will reveal that between 2018 and 2022, a total of 7 discoveries out of 6 wells drilled were made. ENI's Afrakuma 1X world resulted in 2 discoveries of what the geoscientists call the avian level and the Cenomanian level. Hence the count of 7 discoveries out of 6 wells that were drilled under the Akufo-Addo administration. Let the Mahama administration take note that these 7 discoveries cannot be appropriated by it as having occurred under its watch. The MPP's record in the development of Ghana's hydrocarbon resources is one that is enviable and evidenced by reforms to the upstream sector's fiscal regime from the Kufuor Mahama administration and the historic discoveries under the Akufo-Addo administration.
You heard Deputy Ranking Member on the Energy Committee of Parliament, Collins Adomako-Mensah.
Let's go on the phone lines and speak to Richmond Roxon. He is spokesperson for the Ministry of Energy. Mr. Roxon, to summarize what the minority spokesperson is saying, it appears this government, the ministry you belong to, is wrongly attributing the credits for the IBAN and the IBAN oil fields. What do you say to that?
Good evening, Sanda. Good evening to your cherished listeners, and thank you for the opportunity. It's rather unfortunate that the Member of Parliament and the former Deputy Energy Minister, Honorable Collins, seeks to mislead the public. In the first place, the statement that the ministry put out was just to inform the people of Ghana that about the declaration of commerciality. Even though this project is a project that commenced years ago under His Excellency the President John Mahama, nobody even indicated that. It was basically to inform the people of Ghana or update the people of Ghana on what has happened. The first point that has to be made is that under the previous administration, the upstream environment became very hostile. And some of these conversations, we are careful to have them in the media because of the reputation of the country. Ghana, as a country that is a darling of investors, suffered heavy blow during the period. And you would recall that even to the extent that there was a directive issued by the government at the time, the NPP government, for the unitization, which became an issue between ENI and Springfield for a long time. That issue was resolved immediately this administration took charge. Let me just focus on this very one that he's talking about. These conversations, you start them with a petroleum agreement. The petroleum agreement or the license was in April 2016. The effective date or the initial exploration period, which commenced April 14, 2016, was supposed to be for 3 years, from April 14, 2016 to April 13, 2019. Subsequently, if you look at the updates that were provided, that happened. Then eventually you also had other activities take over within the period. And then finally we are where we are. So it is never accurate that it's their project. If they themselves will admit, they will admit that they did not sign any, did not go to Parliament for any ratification for this project. They didn't sign the petroleum agreement. The petroleum agreement for this project was signed by Honorable Amabua as far back as 2016 when he was the petroleum minister for petroleum. So it's not accurate that these discoveries were made under their government. That is totally false.
Okay, so over the past 8 years, there was clearly a lull in an NDC government. Did the NPP government contribute anything? If you were to put it in percentage terms, what percentage would you say the NPP government over the past 8 years contributed vis-a-vis versus what the NDC has contributed under Mills Mahama and now Mahama?
What their contribution will be is to frustrate the processes when it comes to upstream, when it comes to our exploration drive. That would be the. I told you, Standard, that a lot of majors left Ghana within the period. I mean, you are a journalist of repute. You can do your own research and put out. A lot of companies in the upstream left Ghana within the period. Maybe we don't want to put these things out, like I said, because of the nature of the sector. That is why we are careful. But
so there was not a single contribution over the past 8 years, you say?
That's what I'm saying. In this project, the project is there. You look at what was done in the update was given in 2019. Once the petroleum agreement has been signed, it comes down to the joint ventures, the partners to proceed with it. The joint ventures in this case will be ENI Ghana, which ENI is the operator. You have Vitor, you have Woodfield, you have GMPC, and then S-Bloco. They, as a government, played absolutely no role. What it will be is that once the petroleum agreement has been signed, the parties go ahead to proceed with their obligations, and from time to time, what needs to be done, they do it.
But,
so
but even if there was a role of inaction, that could also be an action, because if they had acted by, for instance, terminating the contract, reviewing the contract, and deciding to put it on ice, that would have torpedoed or upended the project, don't you think?
And like I said earlier, that the only role they would have played in this is to forestall the project. That's the role they played, because they made the environment hostile. What do you think ENI would have done within the period where government was forcing utilization on them together with Springfield? You think they would have proceeded as they have to proceed? So these are challenges. And Sunday, if you go back to Parliament, go back to the records, they opposed all these petroleum agreements. Before this particular petroleum agreement, there was an OCTD one, that's for the Sankofa one, to the extent that they even petitioned the Italian Prime Minister at the time over the project and accused the administration at the time of inflating the cost. They had 8 years. They didn't hear them investigate or even prosecute anybody over that. So they didn't contribute anything to this project. What has happened is that the current administration has engaged the stakeholders, has engaged the upstream players. The number of them that have served notice to come back to operate in Ghana because of the nature of the government welcoming when it comes to investors. So I don't want us to go into the political realm, because it's a new administration. You are trying to create the enabling environment for the upstream players to come back. Our reserves have been dwindling over the period under them. And this government is taking steps to ensure that the sector is back on its feet. Those who cause the mess should not be the ones who are antagonizing those who are trying to put the sector back.
Thank you for speaking to us. Let's leave it here. Thank you so much. That's Richmond Roxon. He speaks for the Ministry of Energy. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Fafa, what else do we have for our listeners?
Lawyers for Patricia Esiedua, popularly known as Nanagrada, have officially filed a notice of appeal challenging the Circuit Court's decision that sentenced her to 15 years imprisonment. Nanagrada was convicted on charges of defrauding by false pretenses and charlatanic advertisement. However, her legal team contends that the trial judge demonstrated manifest bias and denied their client a fair hearing. In an interview with Citi News, lead counsel Richard Asari-Bafo stated that the High Court has been petitioned to quash both the conviction and the sentence.
Okay, so we filed the petition of appeal this morning on grounds that the judgment delivered by the court is so unreasonable that the evidence on record does not support it. We have also stated that the trial as a whole is wrong in law, and we are saying that the accused person, the judge, demonstrated manifest bias by personally harassing and intimidating the accused. The accused person effective and adequate representation. We have also said that the trial as a whole was characterized by bias, as stated earlier, right? We have also said that the sentencing was harsh and unreasonable to impose 15 years imprisonment without labor. And we want the conviction to be overturned and then the sentencing quashed.
Mr. Asari-Bafo also stated that his team will, in the coming days, file a bail application seeking the temporary release of Nanagrada as the appeal is being determined.
The petition of appeal must be filed first, and that will be the basis for applying for bail. So once that you've gotten that out of the way, I think we'll be doing the bail in subsequent days.
Richard Asari-Bafo is lead counsel for Patricia Esiedua, popularly known as Nanagrada.
CATS International is on a campaign to ensure that people do not pay for certain services that the WACEC, the West Africa Examination Council, is rendering them. It has to do with the issuance or access to BECA certificates. For more, let's speak to Apia Kosi Adumako. He's West Africa Regional Director for CATS International. Mr. Adumako, so you are saying that WACEC should not have internally generated funds?
Good evening, Umalo, Sanda, and your listeners. I think it's not about a matter of internally generated fund. For example, when National Service Secretariat posts candidates list for postings, they don't charge any fees. And what WACEC is doing is not different from what other examination bodies does. And let me take you back before 2004 when this thing came. Before that, whenever you write an exams and the results are released, WACEC would print statements of results from the national, it moved to the regional, to the district, to the various schools. And all of those things were kind of a cost to the WACEC administration. And then they decided to go electronic so that people will be able to access their results online. Then, after they have made savings by going electronic, then they decided to levy students to pay a fee to acquire the scratch card, which is unfair because, I mean, when students undertake exams, it is the obligation of the exams body to make sure that they receive their results. As well, results are also mailed to you to your address at home. But in Ghana here, we know that now that WACEC has gone electronic, they are no longer even printing the result slip again. So if you had finished WASI before 2004, you'd have received a result slip by WACEC. Now they only give you the certificate. So we think that it's very wrong. The fact that this thing has persisted for more than 21 years does not legitimize its continuity.
Okay, so have we considered the reasons WACEC has given for these charges? Perhaps could it be some administrative fees that have to be paid? Because like you said, those who did their BEC before 2004 have certificates. I have mine. But subsequent to that, maybe there are some administrative costs that WACEC has to incur, which costs have to then be borne by the students, though.
So, as I rightly said, the previous scenario was very cost intensive to the WACEC. You have to print a certificate. They have to put them in trucks, deliver them from the national to the regions, to the district, to the various schools. That one was very cost intensive to the WACEC. But this electronic one is very, very cheaper for WACEC. And so if WACEC is saving money for not printing these hard copies and distributing them, now the saving that they have made, that they still want students to pay. And I think it's very wrong. I mean, we've all taken international exams before, the SAT, the TOEFL, the English test, and what have you. Once the results are released, you're able to check your results online for free. And then the exams body also mailed to you a hard copy to the address that you have registered, you have provided to the examination body. So I think that it is wrong, and we are appealing to Ministry of Education and Parliamentary Select Committee on Education to look into this. And it's not only about checking of results, it's also about the computerized placement. That is also another unjustified expense that the computerization has kind of placed a burden of cost onto parents. And I think that one is also wrong. And in our petition to the Minister and the Parliament, we are calling for those two charges to be scrapped.
Thank you. Let's see how far that goes. Thank you so much for speaking to us here. That's Apia Kosi Adumako. He's West Africa Regional Director of CATS International. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi. Let me read some of your messages now. Mavis from Adan says, this is sad news for Ghana as we lost a hardworking and energetic young man. My condolences to the entire family and the NPP fraternity. Death, they say, is inevitable. So that's in relation to the death of Ernest Kumi. Let me take Mausi Ayibi Esther in Volta says, the sudden demise of MP Ernest Kumi Fakwetia has shocked all of us. His leadership and dedication to his party will be missed. Zelis Dwayne says, life is very short. Rest in peace, Honorable Kumi. Akate Raymond from Agoti Mekpeto says the death of Honorable Kumi demonstrates to us once again the transient nature of man and the futility of human existence. May the Mother Earth herself softly rest on him till we all meet in eternity. Alam Emmanuel inside Bolgatanga says, what a shock and heartbreaking news about the death of the MPP Member of Parliament Fakwetia Ernest Kumi. My condolences to the family, especially to the wife and children. Gastiman in Brekum says, in the quiet, harsh morning, a voice of the people fell silent. Though his journey ends, the echoes of his duty and dignity will forever walk among us. Farewell, servant of the nation. May God receive you in his bosom. You can also send your message 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. Fafa.
Well, the Accra Regional Police Command has arrested a suspect in connection with the shooting death of a Queen Mother at Gbawe last month. A naming ceremony at Gbawe Zero turned tragic after the shooting incident that left the Queen Mother dead and another person critically injured. The other victim is currently receiving treatment at the University of Ghana Medical Center. At a press briefing, Director of Public Affairs for the Greater Accra Police Command, DSP Juliana Obeng, said the suspect fled the scene and sought refuge in Asokore in the Ashanti region.
Our investigation so far has established that during the event, which was organized by Ibrahim Ni Aikwashi Solomon, it was attended by other traditional rulers and Asafu groups. Now, at about 7 p.m. on the day of the incident, some individuals armed with locally manufactured weapons began firing indiscriminately. One of the shooters, later identified as Gilbert Awuni alias Starboy, allegedly aimed and fired his weapon at close range, striking Pearl Na Dodua Witekar, 33-year-old Queen Mother of Papase, killing her instantly. Another victim, Priscilla Na Ayele, who is 38 years and a trader, was also shot in the chest and is on admission at the University of Ghana Medical Center, thankfully in a stable condition. Further details has established that the suspects had consumed sobolo, which we suspect was laced with some narcotic substances at the ceremony before the incident happened. Now, for realizing that he had committed the crime, that is that boy, he fled the scene on a motorbike with his friend, known as Oxygen, and sought refuge in Asokore, a suburb in the Ashanti region. Acting on intelligence from the Accra Regional Police Intelligence Team, a team was dispatched and moved swiftly to Asokore, where we arrested Gilbert Awuni alias Starboy. He's 21 years and an Okada rider and a resident of Denchwa here in Accra.
DSP Juliana Obeng is the Director of Public Affairs at the Greater Accra Police Command. Away from that, Chairman of the Constitutional Review Committee, Professor Kwesi Prempeh, says there is a need to regulate the extensive powers held by the Office of the Chief Justice. He explained that the Chief Justice oversees both judicial and administrative functions of the court, dual roles that expose the office to potential abuse of power. Speaking at a learning and exchange event organized by the African Judicial Independence Fund, Professor Prempeh stressed the need to strengthen parts of the Constitution to provide better checks on the powers vested in the Chief Justice.
And some solution has to be found to that problem. Not by removing them, but if you have to wait for attrition, maybe that's one way you do it, because the larger the size of the court, the more the temptation is also to have a Chief Justice who continues to feel that the empowering and paneling power must be used to constitute the court. But even if it is to be used, we should regulate it. There has to be clear rules as to how you pick a judge to sit on the case, how you can and cannot remove a judge. I think we must restore confidence in that process of paneling so that people don't think that the Chief Justice is just playing games on the court with that power. Once the politicians see that the CJ has that power, they will go after the office.
Professor Kwesi Prempeh also pointed out gaps in the appointment and removal processes of Supreme Court justices, which he said need to be tightened.
It's not a Kenya-style Judicial Service Commission. It's a very weak council. When you look at the membership, it's clear it's not really going to be a big check either on the executive or even on the Chief Justice. So we do need to reconstitute those bodies. We need more parties to be involved in the nomination process so that it doesn't just become the president's pick and then it takes it to a compliant parliament and then the rubber stamp the appointment. I think the appointment side is very important because of the polarized nature of our politics, almost America-style polarization. So we need to tighten up the appointment process. The removal process absolutely need to be tightened up.
Professor Kwesi Prempeh is chairman of the Constitutional Review Committee. Former Assistant Secretary at the office of the former President, Ibrahim Ejei, is calling on the Electoral Commission, EC, to explain the increase in polling stations for the upcoming Ablekuma North Parliamentary rerun from 3 to 19. His comments follow growing concerns from the New Patriotic Party, which has described the EC's directive as unjust. The party argues that no consensus was reached during consultations leading to the decision to rerun the election in the affected areas. Speaking on Channel 1 TV's Breakfast Daily, Ibrahim Ejei said the EC must clarify how 16 additional polling stations were added.
This is my submission here, Nana. How do we get from 3 to 19? At least inform us, because when you inform us, the actors, both NPP and NDC, can determine how true or not. And of course, then you have the returning officers who were there at those 19 polling stations. Now, it said that the polling stations that were affected, I think the figures were scanned but not verified.
Yeah.
So that was the reason. We understand that. When we were talking about 3, just let us know, EC, where did the additional 16 polling stations come from? Is it the case that during this period you found out more inconsistencies, because now you have the luxury of time to maybe hear other petitions. So in this polling station, this went on. There was overvoting in this particular one. Things that were not captured in December have now come up. If that's the case, explain.
You heard former Assistant Secretary at the office of the former President, Ibrahim Ejei.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Are you feeling tired after a hard day's work? Have you lost your appetite even for your favorite dish? Viral Blood Tonic is a nutritionally balanced, pleasant-tasting tonic fortified with iron and vitamins to boost your appetite and energy levels for high performance. Viral Blood Tonic, easy to take and good for the family. Viral from Danex Iting Starwin PLC. If symptoms persist after 48 hours, consult a physician. This advert is FDA approved.
Charlie, where are you?
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Wale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Masa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
New Kivo Hot Pepper Powder. Loco shoe. This advert is FDA approved.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Melody Fafa. Got to fair the details now. With a 30% reduction in DSTV subscription prices expected in the coming weeks, consumer advocacy group Cuts International is pushing for broader reforms to promote fair competition in Ghana's pay TV sector. The anticipated price cut follows a government intervention led by the Minister of Communications to address public concerns over rising entertainment costs. Speaking to Citi Business News, West Africa Regional Director of Cuts International, MP Kumi welcomed the move, but quickly warned that a temporary price relief alone won't solve the deeper structural issues facing the market.
The minister coming in to mandate them to reduce prices is good in one way, but in the long term, we need a competition law. Competition law can mandate multi-choice to also we have what's called compulsory licensing. Compulsory licensing, it is that it permits a company that has a particular product that others need it for it to license it to your competitors under what you call fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory way, so that other providers like Star Times and others can also have access to the premium content. In this way, we can see competition there. So that what the minister is doing is good, all right, in the short term. But I think the long-term solution is to have a competition law that could permit compulsory licenses in the digital TV sector.
That was West Africa Regional Director for Cuts International, Apeakusi Adomako. Now, meaningful engagement will be key to maximizing the impact of the Feed Ghana program. This is according to peasant farmers to the government as it rolls out the construction of farmer service centers under the initiative. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture has announced plans to establish 50 service centers this year to improve farmers' access to essential inputs, extension services, and technical support for crop production. Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association, Bismarck Norte, tells Citi Business News there is the need for continuous consultation with farmer groups to ensure the facilities are responsive to the need of smallholder farmers.
50, yes, it's quite ambitious, if you ask me. Is it achievable? I think so, but I think that we need lots of support. And mind you, some of these centers are not going to be built from scratch. My understanding is that there are some centers that already exist. Some premises exist that they need to just convert them into centers. So probably there might not be something to build from scratch. But once we have a model of a service center that will be implicated, then we are sure how the infrastructure will look like. But I think what is most important is that we believe, we hope that target is achievable, even though we know it's quite ambitious. But we hope that the ministry carries us along through the process. And then if there are any way that we can support it, then we have to do it.
Bismarck Norte is Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. Now, CalBank is pointing to institutional and policy support for indigenous banks to help build a more resilient financial sector. The call was made at the bank's headquarters in Accra during the launch of Red Week, an event to mark the 35th anniversary of the bank. Managing Director of CalBank, Carl Selassie Asim, stresses the strategic role of local banks, noting that they have consistently shown commitment to the domestic economy even in the face of industry-wide turbulence. He believes targeted support and incentives for indigenous banks will not only strengthen the banking ecosystem, but also deepen access to credit for local businesses.
They have made this brand a very strong brand in this country, that everybody knows what CalBank is and how indigenous can CalBank be in achieving these goals. And it is important that we also execute our part as the staff and employees of this bank to be able to move this bank to greater heights. We always strongly believe that the indigenous banks in this country and everywhere has a very greater role to play. Any country that relies on foreigners to be able to run their banking system puts himself at a very greater risk. Because there are things that in terms of support, in terms of what can drive the economy, it is only the indigenous bank who understands the way this country operates and how they can be relevant and provide the support. We strongly believe that all stakeholders continue to support indigenous banks so that they be able to play their major role in the economy of the country. Because when everything comes down, it's the indigenous bank who don't leave. They stay throughout and be able to make sure that the country's economy gets back to shape.
Carl Selassie Sem is Managing Director of Cal Bank. The Ghana Cocoa Board is planning to realign its existing logistical and infrastructure assets to fully participate in the recently launched 24-hour economy initiative. The policy is aimed at stimulating productivity, accelerating exports, and generating inclusive economic opportunities across key sectors such as agriculture, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, infrastructure, logistics, and textiles. In an interview with the media, the chairman of Cocoa Board, Dr. Samuel Ofusu-Ampofo, stressed the need to boost the board's productivity by taking full advantage of the opportunities presented by the new policy.
For our economy, a policy was launched, and the president's emphasis is also on the port. The port is going to operate 24 hours, and Cocoa Board has 8 warehouses here. We do exports here, we do quality control here. And so if we are going to take advantage of the 24-hour economy, then there is a need for us to look at the infrastructure, and logistical requirements that will enable us to reposition Cocoa Board to take full advantage of the 24-hour economy in order to increase productivity, give quality assurance, and at the same time expand the pace of production and create more jobs for our teeming youth.
Dr. Samuel Ofusu-Ampofo is the board chairman of the Ghana Cocoa Board. The executive secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, Duncan Amwa, is urging the government to expedite steps to revamp the Tema oil refinery TOR. The management of TOR disclosed that the company's total debt stock reached $517 million as of December 2024, with operational liabilities and government accounting adjustment being attributed to the debt. Speaking to Citi Business News, Duncan Amwa called on the government to absolve some of TOR's debt to help ease some of the financial burdens of the state-owned entity.
We are all excited to hear from the management of Tema Oil Refinery that they are making preparations to come back on stream somewhere September, October. We are minded by issues of the past where there have been promises to revamp the place and nothing was done. Whatever the government can do at present to get TOR out of the financial pit that they find themselves in. I heard a debt of some over $500 million USD is hanging on them. If the finance ministry could find a way to absorb that, give TOR some strict KPIs, free the refinery of the economic shackles that it finds itself, and be sure that it brings it back on stream to also contribute to petroleum security, we'll be very happy to see tangibles being done to help TOR come back on the stream.
You heard there the Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, Duncan Amwa. And that's all for this edition of the Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Melody Fafa, but to fair up next is Point Blank.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Still
Still unbeatable. Republic Bank has slashed the Citi mortgage interest rate to a new low. That means it's more affordable to own your dream home. You enjoy lower monthly installments, save on interest payments, flexible loan arrangements, and more. Make the move. Own your home at a lower teen interest rate. But hurry, this offer lasts for a limited time. Visit any Republic Bank branch or send email to myhome@republicghana.com or call Accra 054-0109-649, Kumasi 054-0109-901 to apply today and enjoy a teen interest rate. Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Oh, jump on now.
Go. Google me. At what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I not change my car. It be the same, right? It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind says be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, they make a finish my go be fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my go be inside?
I give you info. Make a feel the go be too small.
The go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. I am Umar Rusanda Amadu. Tonight on Point Blank, we'll be hearing from Sir Sam Jonah. He's a business leader. And he's been speaking about engineers and planners. Now, engineers and planners has acquired the Black Voter Gold project, and there have been claims that it is political favoritism. Now, Sam Jonah is saying that's not true. It is based on merit. He said it's a commercially viable transaction which reflects what he describes as long-term overdue transformation in Ghana's mining sector. He said it's a business move and not a politically motivated or influenced move. Sir Sam Jonah was speaking at a ceremony to celebrate the $100 million financing agreement between engineers and planners and the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development. I want you to listen to that.
We are not merely here to celebrate or to witness the signing of a facility agreement. We are here to celebrate a milestone. We are here to affirm a vision and embrace a bold new chapter in Ghana's economic story, led not by foreign interests, but by our own. Ladies and gentlemen, for decades I have passionately argued, sometimes with frustration, always with conviction, that Ghanaians must be empowered to move from the periphery to the center of the mining value chain. We cannot continue to be mere labor providers or royalty collectors while others control the equity, the strategy, and ultimately the wealth of the nation. Today, I feel vindicated. Engineers and Planners, a wholly owned Ghanaian company, has secured a $100 million facility from ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development to acquire the Black Volta gold project. Now, this will be the first large-scale indigenous-owned gold mining project in country, a long overdue breakthrough and a powerful symbol of what is possible when vision meets courage and ambition meets execution. Ladies and gentlemen, this is happening at a very opportune time. John Mahama, our president, his government, is pursuing an aggressive policy agenda aimed at promoting greater Ghanaian participation in the industry. The initiative by ENP gives strong credence to the government's commitment, not just in word, but in deed. Indeed, it is a practical expression of a policy vision that seeks to anchor resource nationalism in indigenous entrepreneurship. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be clear. And I repeat, let us be clear. This is not a favor. There is no political patronage here. This is not crony capitalism. This is not about friends and family. The deal we are witnessing here today was actually initiated as far back as 2023, October, with no fanfare, no interference, and no backroom dealings. It is, in every sense of the word, a commercial transaction built on merit, backed by a strong balance sheet, and grounded in solid business fundamentals. Ladies and gentlemen, the courage and foresight of ENP under the distinguished leadership of Ibrahim Mahama, who I first met in 1998, when he came to seek advice about entering the mining industry, deserves our highest commendation. Back then, his interest was alluvial mining, and specifically Kibi gold resources. He came to see me with his partner, Richard Levac, and I said to them that while alluvial mining was unlikely to yield sustainable returns, hard rock mining was the future. The young man then, now he's got gray hair, listened. He built a company. He earned the respect of the industry, and now he stands tall, poised to fulfill a vision that many considered impossible. Congratulations, Ibra. You have made us all proud. Ladies and gentlemen, the success of this deal is not just about one company. It is about national economic transformation. For far too long, the mining industry in Ghana, despite its immense contribution to exports and foreign exchange, has been largely disconnected from the broader economy. Why, you may ask? Because the ownership has been foreign largely, the procurement has been offshore, and the capital goods have come from abroad. There has been little integration, weak linkages, and minimal domestic value creation. Ladies and gentlemen, this must change, and it starts today. The move by ENP represents precisely the kind of change we need. When Ghanaians own the mines, when the decisions are made here, and when the value is retained within our borders, the contribution of this industry to Ghana GDP, job creation, and industrial development will be significantly enhanced. That is why I call on government, not for handouts, but for preferential policy treatment and incentives for reforms that will make it easier and more attractive for many more Ibrahims to own, operate, and lead in this sector. Ladies and gentlemen, ownership matters, equity matters, and national pride demands that we do more to ensure that our people are at the heart of our mineral wealth development. Please clap for me. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to share a brief anecdote with you, one that is both instructive and inspiring. In the early 1990s, South Africa, like Ghana, faced a similar conundrum. A mining sector dominated by a few powerful conglomerates with little or no black participation. Through the deliberate black economic empowerment policies, the South African government, of which I was proudly advising, sought to shift this imbalance, not overnight, but systematically. From that policy emerged one of Africa's most iconic entrepreneurs, Patrice Motsepe, a lawyer by training who acquired marginal gold mines that no one wanted and turned them into a thriving company, Africa Rainbow Minerals. Today, he sits at the pinnacle of African enterprise, not because he was given charities, but because his country had the foresight to create the framework for opportunity. Ghana must do the same. Our entrepreneurs are not lacking in talent. What they often lack is access to capital, access to opportunity, and access to policy support. If we remove those barriers, I have no doubt that many more Mosepis, many more Ibrahims would emerge from Ghana, blazing trails, not just in mining, but across all sectors of our economy. To ABID, whose president has honored us here with his presence, I say bravo. Your decision to back this project with a substantial $100 million facility is not only a strong vote of confidence in ENP, indeed it is a bold endorsement of the indigenous entrepreneurship and a practical commitment to the economic emancipation of the ECOWAS region. You've not only provided funding, you have indeed de-risked hope, and I pray that other banks, other DFIs, and investment partners will follow your lead. To engineers and planners, you are living my dream, a dream I held for decades, a dream that many believed was too ambitious. You are proof that when local talent is matched with strategic discipline and bold leadership, nothing, absolutely nothing is impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather to celebrate this moment, let us also reflect on the responsibilities it confers. This must be a project that sets new standards, not just for profitability, but for environmental stewardship, local content, community development and engagement, and good governance. We must show that Ghanaian counterparts and companies can compete with the very best and do so with integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, let today be the dawn of a new era. Let the day be remembered as the day we turned the corner from resource extraction for others to resource empowerment for ourselves. Let it mark the beginning of a national agenda to reclaim our rightful place in the mining industry, not as observers, but as owners. Let us rise as a people. Let us mine our gold and own our future.
The words of Sir Sam Jonah, Ghanaian business leader, ending tonight's edition of Point Blank, and indeed for that matter, Eyewitness News. I am Umaru Sandamado. I did this with Fafa Melody Potufe. Production by Sami Wiafi, Bevelyn London, Kwabina Wilson, Juliana Odami Asari, and Manuel Ayama. The technical support from Daniel Squashi, new media support from Emmanuel Usu and his team. We'll be back tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you for listening. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM, relevant radio, always.
City News. We speak first. Reach our hotline on 0302 224959 and get